In a small village called Aim, two sisters named Nancy and Grace lived together. Nancy was like a ray of sunshine, beautiful with a voice like a sweet melody. But Grace wasn't as lucky. As a child, she had an accident with hot oil that left an ugly scar on her face. Because of this, everyone fussed over Nancy, while Grace felt left out. Even though they were sisters, Nancy became a real braggart, loving all the attention from the village boys. This constant praise made Nancy prouder and prouder, creating a big gap between the sisters. She stopped going out with her sister and was ashamed to be seen anywhere with Grace. However, Grace knew the reason why Nancy kept her distance, and it hurt her so much, but eventually she learned how to enjoy her own company. Her parents didn't make things easier because whenever a guest or his suitor visited them, they would always tell Grace to go inside and stay hidden until their guest left. Almost every night Grace would cry her eyes out and beg God to take her life. She was ashamed to look at the mirror because of how she looked. Grace lived as a maid at home because her parents would prefer to send her on errands rather than send her elder sister Nancy. Despite the hardships, Grace developed inner strength and resilience. She found solace in small moments of joy, like watching the sun rise or listening to the birds sing. These little things became her escape from the harsh reality she faced every day. Grace's heart remained pure and kind, always willing to help others, even though she received little in return. Her selflessness and inner beauty shone through, unnoticed by most but always present, waiting for the right moment to reveal its true worth. One sunny day, Grace set off to fetch water from the village stream. On her way back, she spotted an old woman sitting by the side of the path with a giant pot of water next to her. The woman looked exhausted. Grace said hello and started walking past, but then her kind heart kicked in. She turned back, hid her own water pot behind a big tree, and offered to help the old woman carry the heavy pot. The old woman, filled with gratitude for Grace's kindness, stood up to lead the way to her home. Grace noticed the woman was quite old and used a walking stick. It made her wonder how the woman managed to carry the big pot all the way to where they met, but Grace kept her questions to herself. She followed the old woman patiently with the pot of water on her head. They walked and walked until they got to an isolated hut in the forest. When they arrived at the hut, Grace kept the pot of water for the old woman, but as soon as she was about to leave, the old woman said to her, "You have a very good heart. Many people saw me stranded by the roadside, but none of them came to my aid. Because of your kindness, I would grant your deepest heart desire." The old woman gave Grace a special cream wrapped in a rare leaf. "Take this cream. It is a magical cream made from a blend of many special herbs. Apply it on your face when you want to go out and you look beautiful as the morning sun. Any man you kiss on the lips with this cream on your face would forever see you as a star." Grace collected the magical cream and thanked the woman. When she got home, she hid it in the roof of her room, but she was scared of using it because she didn't know the old woman. A lot of men were attracted to Nancy. They would buy her all sorts of gifts and jewelry just to impress her and win her heart, but Nancy refused to settle down with any of them. She enjoyed being chased and wanted to continue enjoying the benefits of being chased. One day a very handsome and wealthy man came for Nancy's hand in marriage. He had brought with him a lot of gifts and provisions. As they sat in the compound discussing the marriage plans, Grace showed up. She was previously sent to the market to get some things, and she had no idea that there would be visitors in the compound. Immediately Nancy saw her, she screamed at Grace in anger. "You ugly thing, why do you want to spoil this beautiful day of mine with your ugly face?" Everyone looked at Grace and started laughing. She couldn't bear the shame, so she ran into her room and started crying bitterly. While she was crying, she looked up and remembered the magical cream which the old woman had given her weeks ago. Without hesitating, Grace applied a bit of the cream to her face. Afterward, she felt more confident, but deep inside, she was still hurting, so she fell asleep. The next morning, Grace woke up and went into the forest to get firewood as usual. On her way there, she noticed something strange. Every man she passed seemed to be staring at her. It made her uncomfortable and she started to worry if something was wrong with her face. Before, people hardly paid attention to her, but now everyone seemed focused on her appearance. She wanted to go back home, but she knew she had to bring firewood back, so she kept going deeper into the forest. After fetching the firewood, she tried to lift it up on her head when a very handsome man showed up out of nowhere. His name was Chinwe. "Let me help you." Grace was shocked because this would be the first time that anyone would talk to her or offer assistance to her. "Are you talking to me?" Grace asked, surprised. "Of course, why would an angel like you be carrying such a heavy load all by yourself?" "An angel? Me? Or should I call you a goddess instead? Your beauty is none like I've ever seen before." Grace couldn't believe her ears. It would be the first time that anyone would tell her that she's beautiful. She watched as Chinwe carried the firewood on his shoulder and she led the way to her house. While they walked, Chinwe told Grace that he liked her and would love to know her more. Grace felt like she was dreaming. Even the worst man in the village avoided her, yet Chinwe was here asking her to be his lover. When they arrived at her compound, Nancy was seated outside the house. She watched closely as Chinwe kept the firewood beside the fire. Before Chinwe left, he hugged Grace and kissed her on the forehead. When Nancy saw this, she became very jealous. Despite the fact that she had all the men in the village running after her, she felt jealous and envious that Chinwe, just one man, was interested in her sister. Nancy went to meet Grace and started asking her where and how she knew Chinwe, but Grace ignored her and this made her even more angry. When Grace entered her room, she remembered the cream the old woman gave her, and when she rubbed it, she then realized that the cream must be the reason why all the men were attracted to her. The next day, Grace rubbed the cream again before she went to the stream to fetch some water and met Chinwe waiting for her already. "I knew you'd come here, so I waited for you. Let me help you with the water." As time went on, Grace grew fonder and fonder of Chinwe. He was a very nice and caring man, but Grace was scared. She wasn't sure if Chinwe loved her because of the supernatural beauty which the magical cream gave her or because of her personality. Meanwhile, Nancy was driven by hatred and jealousy that Chinwe was always around Grace despite the fact that she had many men running after her and that she could get any man she wanted with her beauty. Nancy vowed to snatch Chinwe away from Grace. The next time Chinwe accompanied Grace from the market, Nancy moved closer to him and started trying to seduce him. Chinwe was not enticed at all. He was not moved by her actions. "Leave that ugly girl and take me. I promise I would make you happy. What would it take to win your heart? Tell me, I would do it." But Chinwe insisted that Grace was the woman he wanted. Whenever Nancy looked at her sister Grace, the nasty scars were there, but whenever any man looked at her, they saw a very beautiful lady, even more prettier than Nancy. Nancy, consumed by frustration and jealousy, decided to keep a close watch on Grace. She was convinced there was some secret behind Grace suddenly becoming attractive to the men who once ignored her. Early one morning, Nancy positioned herself outside Grace's window, spying on her sister to uncover her secret. She observed as Grace took the cream from its hiding place and applied it to her face, noting where Grace then concealed the cream. Later, when Grace left for the forest to gather firewood, Nancy seized the opportunity to sneak into her room and take the cream. Convinced this cream was the key to Grace's newfound appeal, Nancy confidently applied it to her own face. However, almost immediately after applying the cream, Nancy felt a burning sensation intensify on her skin. The heat grew unbearable by the minute, prompting Nancy to hurriedly wash her face in an attempt to soothe the pain. When her parents saw Nancy, they were shocked by the condition of her face. The cream had caused severe damage, leaving her looking worse than Grace's scarred face. Upon Grace's return from the market with Chinwe, she was astonished to see her elder sister in such a disfigured state. Nancy, overcome with regret, tearfully begged for Grace's forgiveness, admitting her wrongdoing. Grace, taken aback by Nancy's uncharacteristic humility, forgave her sister and reassured her of her love despite past mistreatment. Nancy then confessed to Grace and their parents that since childhood, she had felt neglected as her parents showered Grace with love and attention. This jealousy had fueled Nancy's actions, leading her to harm Grace out of envy. This revelation deeply saddened their parents, while Grace showed remarkable compassion towards her sister, emphasizing her enduring love despite Nancy's past behavior. They gave her anything she wanted because she was their only child and they made her feel very loved. But when they gave birth to Grace, it was like they shifted all the love and attention to Grace and stopped caring about her. Grace was more beautiful than she was when she was a child, so everyone focused more on Grace than they focused on her. This made Nancy very jealous. So out of envy, Nancy placed a pan of hot oil on top of the cupboard and then she told Grace to go and bring it, knowing fully well that Grace was little and that the hot oil would pour on her. Nancy confessed that she did it on purpose so that she would be the only beautiful daughter and everyone would stop treating Grace special. They were all shocked at Nancy's confession. Her parents were disappointed in her, but Grace told her that she had forgiven her since it was in the past. All the men in the village avoided Nancy because of how burnt her face was, and after hearing what she did to her own sister, they disliked her. Nancy lived in pain for the rest of her life and in regrets. Grace got married to Chinwe, and after Chinwe kissed her, she had no need for the cream anymore. They had beautiful children and they both lived happily ever after. The moral lesson of this story is that you must learn to balance love between your children. Do not favor one over the other. Show each and every one of them equal love and don't make anyone your favorite, because doing this would only create hatred between them and eventually bring division. Always be good even to strangers, because you don't know where your help might come from. Beauty is like a flower that fades quickly. If you find someone that worships and loves and adores you, genuinely stick to that person and overcome the arrogance and pride that comes with being wanted by so many people. The story of Nancy and Grace teaches us about the true essence of inner beauty and kindness. Despite the harsh treatment Grace received from her family and the villagers, she remained compassionate and generous. Her good heart ultimately led her to find true love and happiness. On the other hand, Nancy's reliance on her external beauty and her jealousy led to her downfall. This tale reminds us that genuine beauty comes from within, and it's the goodness of our hearts that truly defines us. Superficial charm may attract attention, but it's our character that earns lasting respect and love. Thank you so much for watching African Tales by Zay, and please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this story, give it a thumbs up, comment, and share. Thank you, and God bless you.